Okay, Kimberly, you are now live, all on your own, apart from me.
All on my own, right then, guys.
You're never on your own,
Adele,
mate. How you doing?
I'm all right, Jace. I'm all right.
I know you're the boss, really.
You are?
I know you're the boss, really.
Well, to be honest with you, Jace, they all keep me in line. That's the truth of it all. They do. They keep me in
That's what they
line.
do. They make you the boss to keep you busy and keep you out of trouble. I know
That's
that.
exactly
Yeah.
what it is.
Method in the
100%.
madness.
They know.
Yeah,
They don't want to lose me, but they got to keep me busy to keep me in the game. See, they got to
that's
keep me
it.
out of trouble. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So, guys, first of all, I'll start by apologising for last week. I know a few of you were waiting for the show. That was my bad. I fell asleep. Adele's coming in now. I fell asleep last week, guys. Adele and Lucia were at a very important meeting in Cardiff. They were networking there with a team from Birmingham. Lucia left about shortly before 9 p.m. She tried to get back for the show. She was relying on me being online so she could jump on just after 9:20. And I had been upstairs working to the point where I had just completely zonked out. And for the first time in my life, my phone was on silent. They were all ringing me. So I am the reason we didn't go live last week. Because as I said, Lucia intended to jump on a bit later. Adele was so
Okay,
proud of
Kimberly,
our
you
show
are
that
now
she went
live,
on her phone while
all
she
on
was in
your
the
own,
meeting to
apart from
show
me.
these guys our fantastic show. And nobody was there. So that was my bad, guys. So I wholeheartedly apologise for not being there last week, but there was valid reasons behind that.
Hello.
Are you doing lovely? Okay.
Yes. As per, cutting it to the very last minute, trying to get on here.
The thing is, like I said to Jason, he said, you had me worried then. I said, Jason, we like to keep you
on your toes.
We always come in last.
Keep your heart beating.
So today, guys, like I just mentioned, I'll mention another meeting as well. We've been networking quite a lot the last couple of weeks. A lot of good things have fallen on our lap. We've been given opportunities beyond our wildest dreams. Adele's been flat out networking, arranging all these meetings, even meetings that she can't make. It's been a really, really busy couple of months, Adele, hasn't it? Moving forward, it's going to get even busier, guys. So you'll be seeing a lot less of me over the next couple of months, but that's because I'm going to be doing a lot more work. But that work is for the good of the organisation. And obviously the girls will be front of house. Adele will probably be main point of contact. Anybody for volunteering, that will be Grace, and anybody doing fundraising and the merchandise, that's Lucia. Today we're going to cover the consultation because a lot of you have been messaging Adele, keen to do the consultation. So again, I'll give a kind of apology there. I have been holding up the process there. Simply because I've been in this for a long time now, and I know that consultation is just a whitewash. So really, I know you guys have been keen, but because I know that it's just a whitewash, I haven't made it priority. But that's what we're going to do tonight now.
Sorry, me by ear. If it looks like I'm not paying attention, it's because I'm managing the YouTube tonight. I don't know if Kim's got YouTube up as well. So when PCP is chit-chatting, that is me. So hello to Lou and Gwyn there. But yes, I'm also looking at documents and stuff. So if you do see myself and Kim staring at our screens and possibly shutting off for a second, it's just because we've started reading something, or we're just checking something before we show it to you. Or so I think we're going to briefly go over previous consultations and where UNESCO has been mentioned in these documents. We're also going to show you the UNESCO website and where you can find those Welsh documents from the UNESCO website. We're going to go through, I think we'll be screen sharing for the consultation and going through that. And then Kim is also going to be looking through the Curriculum Act as well, which is just published a couple of weeks ago, was it, Kim?
Yeah, it wasn't, yeah, just a few weeks ago. I'm actually trying to find it, to be honest. I haven't, I'm on the wrong emails.
If you can't find it, you have just sent it to me in an email, so it'll be in that. So yes, Kim will go through the curriculum, and we'll just kind of explain to you why this curriculum, why this consultation is saying nothing. It tells you nothing. It's there to appease you, to make you think that you're going to be having some sort of say, some sort of input into all of this when you're not. So yeah, we'll talk about that. And also, don't forget, or for those of you who don't know, we've got another protest on July the 11th. We will be leaving from Cardiff Castle. Myself and Kim have a different time to everybody else. And we are going to be aiming for our time, so hopefully we'll get there and we'll see you about half an hour before it starts. So again, apologies, me and Kim are the ones that are late always. We are not very good. Time blind is what we both are. We do struggle with time, so apologies. So we're going to be there nice and early. We're hoping some of the guys from England are going to come up and join us as well. Just super excited. It was so much fun going through Cardiff on the last march. However, I do feel like if anybody can think of some good chants, but ideally chants which are telling people, I hate saying the word sex education on the speaker when there's families approaching us with children. I'd like to try and say this message as well, perhaps without having to say that word too many times. So if anybody can think of some great chants, I think Jodie.
Yeah, Jade.
You did. Oh, it was Jade, was there? I knew it was a J. Did a little chant. So anybody's got a chant that they can think of, please let us know.
Yeah.
This is going to be the last march of the academic year. It's going to be on a Sunday, so please, guys, we're really hoping to get the numbers. We've changed it to a weekend in hope that we can get more people there. Cardiff Bay is lovely. If it's a good day, my children are coming this time. They're going to march with us. However, my partner's going to go off and take them off to do whatever down at, around the bay then. So in terms of content and the things we are talking about, that's the beauty of Cardiff Bay. You can just go and wander off with your kids for half an hour and come back. And then following that, on the Monday, we are doing a school sit out. We are keeping our kids off school and we're emailing the school. So whether it's on Class Dojo, whatever way it is you communicate with the school, we want you to make it clear that the reason you are sitting your child is home today is out of protest of mandatory, this mandatory global sex education. So that's on a brief. Kim looks like she's pulled up what she needs to now.
Kind of. Yeah, I'm just looking in the thing now. Yeah, I think I'm ready. What do you want to start on, Del? Should we start?
Shall we just briefly say who UNESCO are, how it is that we first...
No, actually, UNESCO is not really the first point of thing, and I think people are getting lost on UNESCO. I want people to remember what our government actually signed up to, that's really
okay important. With the who. So yeah, but you want to briefly
yeah, so right then, so if we just
pull that document up,
shall I go through it quickly then? I'll just give a quick scan through now. of the document. So let me find out which page I'm on. Don't know how to show this.
Let me just mute myself.
I think I've got way too many. I think I've got too many things up on my screen to even find it. Show all windows. There we are. Right, here we are. Sorry. It? No, you're gonna have to do it, Adele. You're gonna have to do it. I can't find it on my screen at all. Adele, you're on mute. Love, are you speaking? No.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I was. Right, let me just get our document up. If I can see it. It's on the
I need to close down all these pages. That's what's wrong with me.
yeah, I'll just go onto the website. Actually, I'll share my screen while I'm doing that, and people can see then actually where to find the the documents. All right. So I'll just share my screen with you. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay. There's a bit of lag on YouTube, so I can't see it yet. So you can go to the Public Child Protection Wales. Oops, sorry, I don't know what I'm doing there. Ooh. Sorry, guys. So go into Public Child Protection. You go into more and educate, and then you have resources. So click on resources, and here you will find documentation of various kinds. And we want to look at this one here.
This document here is a global document. So nobody in the UK wrote this document. Welsh government didn't write this document. This document is from a third party, a global institute. So
and you can see here,
you can't really argue with it. You know, you can't argue with this. And I think if you go to page 8, Adele, that's where it first starts discussing the connection to the UK, and then it's page 174 then.
Yeah. So yeah, here's page 8. It's just saying how there's 53 countries teaching comprehensive sexuality education, and this is a review of 25 of those. All these names here that we're always talking about. So you have WHO by here, IPPF, we've talked about these a lot, International Planned Parenthood Federation. So over here we've got the UK. So it's saying
Bottom paragraph it is.
Sorry?
The bottom paragraph it is. It tells
Yeah.
us that the decision makers were involved, and it tells us which document they actually use.
Yeah, so there it is, the UK saying there. And then yes, as Kim just said, here how it's used for adaptation of curriculum, and it was used to inform politicians and other decision makers. And then what did you say, Kim? 108 was there?
Sorry, love, 174.
174. Isn't it? Button. We should remember page numbers as good as you.
Yeah, so this document, guys, is telling us now that all the select committees signed up to the World Health Organization document. Although the studies they did were in England, it also states that this does cover the 5 select committees. So we're assuming that includes Southern Ireland as well. You could argue with this document because it doesn't directly mention Wales, but when you looked into our document, then another document printed exactly the same time, printed in Wales, that document directly references the World Health Organization document as well. So that is the first starting point of the evidence. That is the proof that our governments wanted the World Health Organization sex education, which starts from birth. That document is very important because that's for the select committees, the Children's Commissioner, the Department of Health and Department of Education, all went for that document. And then we make the switch to UNESCO, and that's why we're at UNESCO now. It's really important to remember what our governments originally signed up for.
And it's important here, look, there's the important paragraph, how there's been no change to comprehensive sexuality education. However, Family Planning Association has used the WHO 2010 document advocating for comprehensive education with a statutory status. That was on March 1st, 2017. The government decided that sexual education will indeed become statutory, which means it has to be taught in all schools in the country from 2019. There is, when we are saying that our government signed up to the 2010 WHO document, this is what we are talking about.
Yeah, and the thing is, guys, this is a global document, you know what I mean? This is where our starting point for the evidence, you know. This is, nobody in the UK wrote this, so we can't even say it's outdated. This is a global document and it's directed at 25 different countries. Now, if you're going to buy a Volkswagen Golf, right, you're going to get a Volkswagen Golf delivered. You're going to be driving a Volkswagen Golf. You're not going to be driving a Ford Fiesta, are you? So how anyone can say this is not coming into our country is absolutely, it's beyond, really. You know, this is the evidence. This document is the evidence that we are not getting RSE, we are not getting SRE, we are not getting PHSE, we are not getting SRHE, we are getting comprehensive sexuality education. Our government signed up to it on the 1st of March 2017. So they can throw all these letters at you all they want, they can change the terminology, they can change the words, make it sound beautiful. They signed up to comprehensive sexuality education in March 2017, not RSE.
Yeah, and just here in terms of resources, it's saying how the resources are developed by NGO, and here we've got Family Planning Association, BISH, Brook, Durex, and these are some of the ones, these are the expert advisory group producing them. You can go on to Safe School Alliance, they've loads on resources which include BISH and Brook, and they are not the kind of resources. Brook, for example, as you can see here, they do Sexpression. Again, look at the resources for these. And as Kim said about the 5 parliamentary committees, you can see here again that the statutory status for CSE programme had the support of 5 parliamentary select committees. So that suggests the 5 different governments were involved in this.
Yeah, and we're assuming the 5th is Southern Ireland, although that's not the UK, it is, you know, it's part of Europe. We're assuming it's Southern Ireland because that just makes sense. Because
and we do know
that we were the last out of the whole of Europe, you know, so that would definitely include Southern Ireland.
Yeah, and from my research, because my family is all in Southern Ireland, my nieces and nephews, I've obviously done my research there, and it would appear that the guidance they are using in Southern Ireland is the 2010 WHO document. They're not using UNESCO. And also Southern Ireland, you've got Peter Tatchell and his Educate and Celebrate. So Southern Ireland, you need to get research in this as well, because I think they, what was it, hands off our kids rally they held over there, Kim, was it?
Yeah, hands off our kids.
So if you know someone in Southern Ireland, or from there yourself, please do the research on, and I know it's over there because my sister is there and she has sent me some resources regarding what her son was going to get in nursery. So there, you happy with this document, going through this one now, Kim?
Yeah, that's it. So this is a kind of consultation that was carried out without us, guys. So this is the research they did, the studies they did. That was seen in the deal. So that was, it wasn't the first ever consultation in CSE, but let's call it the first consultation in CSE because that's the evidence we've got. You know, so we can start at that point there.
Sorry.
Adele's going off now. Yeah, so let me see if I can share my screen, shall I? So obviously, guys, what I just mentioned to you now, I did say that this is mirrored in our Welsh documents. If it allows me now to share screen, I'll be able to show you. There it is. I can do it. So if you can see my screen, Adele?
Yep, I can see you.
Right, so which one is the report? So this is the consultation, guys, that they did. Now we just want to show you the front cover of the document. That's all. It's not really important, right? So in here, if you click on this document on our website, this document was written by the Welsh Government. So this is the consultation they carried out at the same time as that global document was carried out, okay? But obviously they've changed it to RSE. They don't want us to know that they're part of that global thing. So the responses to that consultation, okay, so this is why it's important to show you these consultations, to show you how much you've missed out on, and to show you these consultations got the evidence. There's no consultation in the new, there's no evidence in the new consultation. So this document here then was like a response to that, guys. Or was this the new? Yeah, so that was the, no, it wasn't, sorry, it wasn't, I've gone ahead of myself. So that's where they first consulted on the World Health Organization document. Now, what's happened here is we've had a little bit of a jump now from the World Health Organization to the United Nations, okay? The reason for that is because of the graphic detail in the World Health Organization document and the campaigns and the uproar all around the world, right? So this is our RSE draft now from the second consultation they did, right? So in here as well, this is what the schools are still giving out now. Oh God, I've gone to the wrong thing, have I? Clicked on the wrong thing. Let's have a look if it's taking me to the wrong bloody document. Right, I'll just talk you through it, shall I? Let's have a look if it opens up, right. There we are, got it. Right, so this document here, guys, so this was the second consultation they did, right? In here again, there is evidence, right? There's a bit of evidence. So if you go to page 4, this is where we find evidence again of the global rollout. There we are. Look, schools may wish to draw upon UNESCO technical guidance, right? So this is, and if you go to UNESCO, you will see the UNESCO tells you before you get into the document, that document tells you it is a revised version of the previous UNESCO documents and the World Health Organization document. It tells you who they are partnered with. So it's not two different organizations. They are partnered together, they teamed up on this, okay? But this particular document now we're referencing is UNESCO. In this consultation that they did, right, I think it's on page 11, you will see that they've hinted you're going to lose your parental opt-out, well, like right to withdraw. So they've hinted that you're going to lose your parental opt-out, right? But they go on to say that you can withdraw with special request. Now, from this document, from this consultation, there was a load of responses. The first consultation, 87% of Wales didn't want this, okay, and they ignored it. This is the second consultation. They did not mention RSE, even though they published it in here, right? 68% still refused it. So this is where they hinted there might not be a parental opt-out, but they hadn't actually announced it, right? So they consulted on this document that is telling you you have a parental opt-out. But it's misinformation, it's false information, because by the time they print the next document, they've removed it. They've removed it. So they haven't even consulted with you about removing your parental opt-out. Then we had, so this is it then, guys. Then they printed the curriculum and assessment bill. So this is what we were fighting. So this is the actual piece of the draft of the legislation then, telling us you've lost your opt-out, telling us that what the 4 mandated subjects are, that we've lost maths and science from the mandated subjects. And it also tells us here that this starts from age 3. Now, the document before that, which I've just shown you, not only said you had your parental opt-out, but that document told us this education started from age 5. So we've gone from the World Health Organization document that they agreed to, where they want sex education from birth and those graphic details. We've then gone into a consultation where they say you still have a parental opt-out and they want guidance, which will start from age 5. But now we've gone into this bill that's telling us there's no parental opt-out, that is mandated across the curriculum from age 3. So again, guys, you know what I mean? It's just evidence upon evidence upon evidence. And then this is the result of the final consultation. Adele, do you want to go into this document? She's on mute a minute, guys. Oh, I think I caught her off track there. Right,
no, my phone started ringing. I was like, oh no.
Right.
Sorry, and I didn't realise I'm on mute. Sorry, this one here, the stage. Yes, I can go through that. Let me turn my screen share on. Here we are. So this is then the response. So who tells us who was involved? Then what they've done, etc., etc. And then it goes into all the different areas. So, and each area has got, as you can see, a recommendation.
Yeah, so this document doesn't actually cover just RSE. This covers the entire curriculum. So this isn't just about RSE. This covers absolutely everything. So it's a huge document, but only certain parts are for RSE.
So recommendation 24, you can see there, it says that the Welsh Government, as a matter of urgency, launch a myth-busting campaign about RSE that will be delivered as a result of this bill. This campaign should challenge the misinformation currently circulating about RSE, seek to reassure parents about RSE's developmentally appropriate content and approach, and explain why it is important for all children and young people to be taught RSE. Have you seen any of these recommendations yet, Kim? Have you seen them challenge our misinformation? I haven't. So then
this is why I wanted to go back to the 2017 document, Adele, to show people how we got on this track, what the evidence was that got us here, you know, and to show that these people aren't providing no evidence whatsoever. They're just empty words.
So I can just then search UNESCO in this document. It is much easier. So 432. So bearing in mind, they have just recommendation 24 was just saying how we are a campaign of misinformation. That misinformation that we're saying is that this is a global comprehensive sexuality education. That is what we are telling people. So they just said that we're misinformation. And then here you can see, it says the bill's explanatory memorandum lists the 6 headings to be outlined in the code as rights and equality, relationships, sex, gender and sexuality, bodies and body image, sexual health and well-being, violence, safety and support. And it also then says how these headings are derived from UNESCO technical guidance, which has directly informed the curriculum for Wales guidance for curriculum design and implementation, published in January 2020. so it says right here that UNESCO are overseeing this curriculum. They are the one providing the guidance. I have gone into, at the last protest, I've gone into these 6 areas, and what these, with some of the things that that it covered. As we know, under the sex, gender and sexuality, that's where from age 9 children will learn that they're sexual beings from birth and that they can have sexual pleasure. They start learning about masturbation, but we won't talk about that because it also covers rights and equality, and so long as it covers rights and equality, it's all okay, isn't it?
Let's not forget now, also guys, in between this documentation now, we were fighting, you know, we were getting petition up and running and things like that, which meant we had to correspond with government. Well, we've had an admission from Kirsty Williams, you know. If you go on our website on the education page, right down the bottom is a correspondence. Excuse me. And she says in the first paragraph, what we say is wholly inaccurate and false. She says in the 5th paragraph, it's being co-constructed by UNESCO. So what she meant is wholly inaccurate and false. What we said was this is a global sex education. She said it's wholly inaccurate and false. The United Nations is a global institute, you know. She goes on to admit that it's being co-constructed.
Yeah.
So again, so, do you know what I mean? The evidence, so that what they've done is they have referenced this evidence throughout. They've been referenced it throughout, but they didn't expect us to know what it was. They did not expect us to have any idea what this sex education is. That's why they only put it in little spaces here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
It took a while for us to get a direct admission from government themselves that they'd actually use in UNESCO. You know, they were ignoring the fact that we were bringing these documents to them. In actual fact, the document we were submitting to them to prove it's global, they were submitting right back to prove that there was still a parental opt-out. It was just absolutely insane for a while, wasn't it, Del? Oh, she's on mute again now.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, just give me a little nudge when I'm on mute. I'm not looking at the screen. I was on the laptop. Yeah, it's just been, and it's just the fact that every single time they've tried to discredit us is when they've actually given us more evidence.
And it's been amazing. It's been amazing. So do you want to come up to the most recent consultation then, Adele?
Yep, absolutely. Okay, okay. Where is that? I got it. Have you got it? Who's gonna share it?
Go on, you got it. I haven't got the consultation. I've got the act.
Okay. Okay, so here we go. So, right, this is the new consultation. This is the one that is out right now. I do believe it's being advertised as open till the 16th of July, but as we go through this consultation now, you'll see that it's not the 16th. I think it says the 13th and then it says the 12th. So we'll see now when we go through. So if you're seeing it and think that it's the 16th, it is not, but they do like to do these things. So I'll just share again. And here it is. The RSE statutory guidance and code. So again, you'd be kind of forgiven for thinking you are about to learn what the RSE code is. But we'll get into that. So I haven't read this myself for a few days. So you'll see back on the bottom here again. So it says here, this feedback will end on July 2021. So yes, I do know. I'm sure it's been
right. It's the 12th of July. Right, guys, don't worry about this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to write a bullet point response for you anyway, right? You can use our bullet point response or you can take things from it and write your own response, but we will write a bullet point response, and our bullet point response is going to be referencing back to the documents that we've already shown you referencing back to the government admission and asking why they haven't mentioned or provided this evidence throughout this consultation. But this consultation's only taking place, right, because of our campaign. This wouldn't be happening now otherwise, right? And I'll give you a perfect explanation for that now when we get to critical mark. I'm going to actually blow your socks off for the information I'm going to share. It's made me very angry, and I hope it makes you guys very angry.
Yeah. So it's just an overview here. You can see that section 2 is setting out the draft code on the RSE. So again, it's just saying who is to read this. What is RSE? So we've got a little section on here. You've got rights in the second paragraph there, again saying about United Nations and UNCRC. Developmentally appropriate. So we are asking people, when the school says to them that this is going to be appropriate, actually this is one of the areas in the consultation that you can bring up yourselves, is what assessment tool will the school be using to assess whether a child, what levels of developmentally appropriateness that child is, or the academic understanding, which they won't be able to give you one because they don't have one. They will say that the teacher, they'll say that it'd be the teacher's assessment of the child. Well, then I would be asking for the training or qualifications this teacher has got in child sexual abuse, in biology, in all of these areas.
It should be simple. If they can do age and developmental appropriate, there should be an assessment tool. They shouldn't have all these qualifications. It should be that simple. If they can do it, there should be an assessment tool for it.
Yeah.
They simply haven't got it.
No, and we don't see how a teacher, unless it's been trained and knows all this information, it's not qualified to make its own judgment on whether your child is developmentally, age appropriate or not.
But they're expecting the teacher to know absolutely everything about that child and their own circumstances and everything else, You adapt to these conversations when they arise in your family,
Yeah, and that's important to understand. A lot of people are saying about, a lot of people are just grouping children all into one box. Oh yeah, but children should learn about this, and you're not thinking about other minority groups within that classroom. The children who are coming from potentially very strict households where this kind of talk is not accepted, a household where there's abuse going on, or if that child's been abused in its past and you're going to re-trauma that child. Like, this is, you can't just go throwing something like this on children.
Not just re-trauma them. Sometimes, as I know you're not going to mind me saying this, and you know this, I'm using you as a perfect example here now. Sometimes that child doesn't know it's been abused until that information is presented to them. Only if that information is correctly presented to them, delivered by the professionals in the right way. So for a child, that child has only just discovered it's been abused. That is a really complex issue. You can't just throw that in a classroom.
Yeah, absolutely. And if a child was abused extremely young, and like that, they, as I personally know, they may not remember the experience, but they still remember maybe after events of court or with the police. And any of these conversations could trigger flashbacks. You could end up giving these memories to a child that was doing perfectly fine without them. So this again is just kind of talking a little bit about the Educational Act, protected characteristics. So it's saying that schools should consider the makeup of their own student body, including gender, age, range of pupils, protected characteristics, etc. More talk on policies, which we obviously haven't seen any yet. Here again, very important. The new curriculum does not provide a right to withdraw for parents. However, the new curriculum is being phased in. Therefore, some pupils may still be withdrawn from RSE pending the new curriculum arrangements being rolled out to their school year. We would recommend the policy includes a statement about the parents or carers' right to withdraw their child from RSE where still appropriate pending. So, for example, year 8 isn't being implemented until 2023, year 9, 2024, etc., etc. It goes on up, which is again a very sneaky way of putting this education in, because some of the extremely, like the graphic content on information regarding sexual acts kind of comes in from about year 8, year 9, but and continually getting worse. And it's a good way of making parents kind of forget that that's there as it gets drip fed in slowly. Unfortunately, if you've got a child that's in year 7, year 6, they're going to get the whole of, they're going to be 1 year ahead of it. This now, any child under year 7 right now is in this for the long haul, and children who are just starting school are the ones that are going to be brainwashed through this throughout their whole school life. More talking about diversity, still not really telling you anything. It's talking about learners should be responsible for their own learning, but considering they're supposed to be responsible for their own learning, the children don't appear to be able to remove themselves from, because this is not a lesson. I shared some content of a maths question, like this education is in all aspects of the curriculum. It's in English, it's in maths, it's in all aspects of science. So you cannot withdraw, even the children cannot withdraw themselves from these lessons. Again, it's talking about the code, it's saying nothing. So again, when you have teachers saying to you that we won't teach, we won't teach that part, we don't have to use UNESCO. This is what the important part. Yes, you do. The consultation tells us that UNESCO is setting the RSE code. We can see that the RSE code sets the RSE. That nothing can be taught if it doesn't go in line with essentially the UNESCO guidelines. And this is what, when we're asking you to go to school, we're asking you to go there to go and educate your headmaster and your teachers and the governors on what's coming. If to ask them, they're just not aware. So show them this, show them, take screenshots of it on your phone and show them this and say, because they're not, it's not that they're being lied to and, themselves. So again, sorry, RSE code here. This is saying how, so this is going to be the mandatory elements. The content of RSE set out per strand in table form within this document reflects a number of themes: relationships, rights, equity, sex, gender and sexuality. I haven't highlighted these words, by the way, they're just already highlighted. Sexuality, body image, sexual health, well-being, violence, safety and support. It's to be inclusive, including the LGBTQ plus lives. You'll see that there's quite a lot of talk on this here. We know that our government are Stonewall fans. This leaves me very concerned as to what resources our children are going to be getting. So this here goes. So what we are being told of the RSE code is LGBT pretty much. That's it. We don't know anything else. We've got these, what does this tell us? How are they going to be teaching? We want to know how they are teaching these things. What are they going to be using to teach these things? So your sexual health and well-being, again, it's very bland. We do
no mention at all of the documents they've mentioned in previous consultations.
No, nothing. They haven't mentioned a single document of any kind.
Well, it's all words. It's all empty words. What are you going to believe? Are you going to risk this? This is a whitewash. This you will never get right. You're never going to get this opportunity again. And I've just gone back through the curriculum act now, and it's really upset me. Yeah, guys, when we get to next, but you're going to understand they have been taking us for a ride. This document is taking you for a ride. They really are taking the mick out of us. We've been stitched up, guys. It's time to act.
And I want people look at this here, because this is, I can't tell you how much this annoys me here, the accurate terminology for body parts. Get online and have a look, do the research on why children do not need to know the terminology for body parts, and actually about what desensitizing is when we are using these kind of words for genitalia, when we are showing children genitalia, when we are talking so openly with children about sexual parts, sexual organs and sex. It is decent. It's not normal for children to talk to adults about sex or their body parts.
Now, I'm a criminologist, right, and this field is my field. And I'm going to start to put together some really informative videos, educating people on this, providing you with the evidence, guys. Everything Adele is saying is true. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter if people use pet names for genitals. That doesn't matter. We rely heavily on victim resistance in this country, and it is desensitizing, and I am going to prove that to you 1,000,000 times over. I'm going to prove it. And you ask them for the evidence that this safeguards. It doesn't safeguard at all.
And I've said it 1,000,000 times. If any teacher is having a normal conversation with a child, where a child is talking about abuse but is using a pet name, that conversation should very quickly be identified as this child is not actually talking about a cookie or a flower or something like that. And if that teacher is trained properly on safeguarding and identifying abuse in children, it would pick up a red flag on the use of that word being involved in that context of language. So here we have as well, again, it's just a load of nothing. It really is just a load of nothing. Like, this is supposed to be kind of telling you what the RSE code is. Again, it doesn't say it. So we know that our RSE is using the WHO definition for adolescents, which is age 10 to 24, and we know that they are using the WHO definitions for sexuality. In fact, most of their definitions are going to be coming from the World Health Organization. So, Kim, do you want to just say about consent, please? Do you want to go into why this consent is so dangerous?
Right, we're campaigning against consent, right? Consent is problematic. Consent is a massive part of the definition of child sexual exploitation. It's problematic for prosecution, and even before we get to prosecution, we got so many problems anyway. Right, when I go into perpetrators of abuse, I'm going to be showing you how things are seen as consent, right? So even going back to what Adele said about correct terminology then, when you draw attention to a person's genitalia, right? So a paedophile will draw a child's attention to it, And when they start discussing it, that is seen as consent, right? It's seen as consent. Anything like that is always seen as consent. We need to come away from consent. Consent is dangerous. We should have a point blank empowering no. Okay, we should be going down that route of no. Not kids will do it anyway. Consent. Look up the definition of child sexual exploitation. We've got children out there sleeping with their being raped by their step parents, right? And the parents can't get this to court because the child they seen as consented. That child cannot consent. A child cannot consent, guys. But a part about being this until we're 25 anyway. The age of consent is 16, but even the definition of child sexual exploitation, which includes the element of consent, goes over the age of consent, so covers people over the age of 16, up to the age of 18 and beyond, for two simple facts. We aren't fully mature, and everyone in this country under the age of 18 is a child. Now, it clashes with all the definitions out there. It is dangerous. This is what we need to campaign against massively, right? Everybody thinks this consent is a good thing. It's not a good thing, right? Once you understand perpetrators of abuse, once you understand definitions, and once you understand abuse in great detail, you understand how problematic that is.
And how easy it is to get a child to consent to its own abuse.
And this is it. It's if this is like, so when you draw attention to a child's genitals, by that child not going freaking or pulling a face or going or whatever, that is viewed as consent. That is viewed as consent. Simple as that. If a child does not respond, that is viewed as consent. Pedophiles, look at Tom O'Carroll, he will tell you by looking at a 4-year-old's knickers and telling a 4-year-old she's got nice knickers, if she doesn't shy away from that, that is consent. Consent is dangerous in a perpetrator's eyes. Right, so perpetrators of there's processes to go through to offend as well. So you've got internal inhibitors, and part of that internal inhibitor, right, is making sure it's all right with themselves. So telling themselves it's okay. And by a child consenting, they see that as okay. That's one part. We also get a part where they see children as leading them on. So children instigating it. They see that as consent as well, right? So consent is problematic. We've got teachers out there who genuinely think this is empowering kids. We've got a campaign against it. Every single person that works in sexual crimes or deals with the definitions of sexual crimes, whether that's adults or children, they will understand the dangers surrounding consent. Every single time we talk consent, it just drives me insane because of a perpetrator's perception of consent. Right, in this country, in the UK, and it's a fact, guys, I've proven it right in my work, and we're even going to publish something in December to prove it as well. In this country, we're relying, right, on the DBS and victim resistance. So victim resistance is simply a little shriek, right? So we don't want to desensitize kids. We don't want to show kids these big bloody dildos. We want them to be scared of adult genitalia. We don't want to be talking about adult genitalia. We don't want to be drawing attention to it, because it's always seen as consent in a perpetrator's eyes, right? That is okay to them in a court of law when we're dealing with teenagers. It's seen as okay to the jury, right? It's dangerous. It is dangerous. Please do not fall for the trap of consent. We're going on the consent bandwagon. You moved again, love.
Yeah, sorry. I can see my oh no. Where was I on the consultation one? Sorry, guys. So this bit's kind of important for those of you who are in England, because people under the impression in England, oh, primary, we can opt out of the sex element. And it is very important to realize that so much of this sex education doesn't come under sex. It comes under the relationships heading. So, for example, here in our glossary for definitions, It is saying that it's the connections and interactions between two or more people. Interpersonal relationships refers to a relationship that one has with oneself. Both types are shifting, changing. They could be familial, spiritual, romantic, platonic, and sexual. So sexual relationships falls under relationships. Sexuality definition. As I said, they are using the WHO definition. I wish I had that up on my phone, but you can Google it. WHO sexuality definition, and you will pretty much find this, except this here is missing a few words, and those words are fantasies, desires, eroticism, sexual pleasure. I can't remember, there's a few more. And obviously they've conveniently left those words off this glossary. So we've got inclusive. Inclusive to who? Because I don't see much about disability. I would love, can everybody please question, where is the inclusivity and the equality for disabled children? We can see a lot for the LGBT. However, sat in a classroom, there is anywhere between 1 to 4 children with autism, 1 to 3 children with ADHD, children with cerebral palsy, global development delays, cystic fibrosis, many children who have got physical disabilities, they can't access mainstream school. They have to go to special education needs schools because mainstream is not inclusive, it's not equal for them. And yet, where is any of that? Well, where is anything for them? Where is it telling how teachers all need to have a high spec of training on autism, on these disabilities, that these children, the other children need to know about their disabilities, why they behave in a certain way, why they might flap, why they might have a meltdown, why they can't sit still, why they can't stop shouting out, why they're in a wheelchair. Where is all of that? This seems to be only inclusive to one group of people here. So please put that on your consultations. Where is the inclusivity to disabled peoples? Because I don't see any. If you can find me any in any of these documents about what is going to happen in schools to educate teachers and other pupils on the disabilities of the pupils in their school, which there is far more pupils in primary school with a disability struggling than there is of a 8-year-old worrying if they're gay or if their gender doesn't align. It's a minority within a minority, but yet we have it's not even becoming a minority anymore for children to have learning difficulties. Where is it? LGBTQ, again, the equity there, fair and impartial treatment, redress imbalances in rights. Yeah, okay. Gender, often used to refer whether somebody identifies as female, male, or non-binary. Again, I think we need a definition on feelings, because these are feelings apparently. So I'd like a definition on feelings. Gender often refers to the socially and cultural perceived norms and differences between men, women, and non-binary people. People often find an important sense of identity. Again, it's remember GBV, gender-based violence. Look, I'm not saying that obviously this doesn't happen, but this actually comes in from age 5. Do we want our 5-year-old children learning about gender-based violence? Or any violence? You know, you're exposing them to you're causing harm, you're putting worry into their minds that doesn't need to be there. These are adult problems for adults to sort out so that children don't have to worry and think about these things. So diversity, so it's saying here it can relate to race, religious beliefs, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, age, or physical disabilities. Again, if this was about diversity, they would know a bit more about economics themselves. And again, none of that is taught in here, how certain children are more at risk than others. Purely because of their socio and economic status. So race, well, race probably will get covered again. If we watch America, you've got the critical race theory going on over there. I have no doubt that that will hit our education system at some point. Religious, we know that they're teaching RVE. But again, physical disabilities, no mention of learning disabilities, just physical disabilities, but there is no education on it there. Protected characteristics, age, disability, gender, reassignment, race, religion, or belief, sex, sexual orientation, marriage, pregnancy, maternity. The definition of sex. Assigned to a person on the basis of primary sex characteristics and reproductive functions. Some people's gender identity does not match up with the sex they were assigned at birth. Sometimes the terms sex and gender are used interchangeably to refer to whether somebody is female, male, or non-binary. That is not the definition of sex. And non-binary is not a sex. As far as I can tell, non-binary is somebody who just isn't very feminine and isn't very masculine. And is that not a slightly bit personality as well? I think I'd fall in a non-binary box, to be honest. But I'm just me. I'm just a person with a feeling. Why are we labeling all these feelings? All these feelings on where you sit in line with the social construction of gender. You know, we're telling children that pink dresses and glitter is socially constructed. However, if that's what you like, then you have to change your gender and become a girl. This is crazy. And then that's it, folks. That is your consultation. It consults nothing. So to recap, it tells us nothing. It gives us the name of no documents. It shares with us no resources. It shares with us no lesson content. It doesn't share with us any organizations that are involved or going to be involved in this, in the writing of it, in the implementing of it, in the providing information, anything. Nothing in it at all. It's got consent, which, you know, we've briefly talked about why consent is not good, why teaching children the correct terminology is not good. It's not, and it just simply is not needed. We have been doing well for how many, you know, thousands and millions of years with names like Foofy and Flower and Penny, whatever it is that you call yours, and willies, like we don't, and a bum, you know, we don't need anus and penis and scrotum. It's just no need for it. You know, those are words that doctors use. We just don't need to use it. And saying we call an arm an arm, otherwise, if that's the case, bottom wouldn't be bottom in RSE, it'd be a gluteus maximus, or whatever it's called. So, huh?
Yeah, no flanges in the door.
Yeah, so that doesn't need to be there. There's no equality or inclusivity for disabled people of any kind. It's not given the correct definitions of sexuality. What else was there? It's got some mumbo jumbo about, can I just say, and if somebody wants to identify as non-binary, that is absolutely fine. We are not, you know, whatever. Really, we're all adults. We want to live in a society which really just does not give a shit about somebody's gender, where a person is judged on who they are as an individual, not what they identify as an individual. I want to see who you are, not what you tell me you are.
Exactly.
So
Right.
what I don't want is children learning inaccurate science, inaccurate biology, and not just that, having kids suddenly having to question everything. It's down to pride, celebrating, let's celebrate sexuality in school, primary school. No, we don't celebrate sexuality of any kind. Why are you getting children to walk around with LGBT tops on? Talking about, that's sex. Talking about gay, lesbian, just talking, you didn't have them. This is not about rights. You just teach your children to be inclusive to everybody. You don't need to have them batter in for one club. They don't need this stuff. They don't need to be thinking about sexuality. Young children of any kind, not heterosexual sexuality or homosexual, bisexual, any sexual. They don't need sex in primary of any kind. They don't need to know it. They don't need to learn it. When we teach them about a mum and a dad, we are not teaching them what heterosexual means. We never have before. So why have we got to do it now?
Right, let's get on to this.
Sorry, love.
Get on to the legislation then, is it? So we were fighting the curriculum and assessment bill, right, guys? So that was the legal draft of this whole curriculum. That was we were fighting against, because it's all across the curriculum. It's not one lesson, right? That was the whole thing. So now we have actually had the legislation in place, and it's called the Curriculum and Assessment Act. I don't know if you can see my screen. How has this come up now?
Yeah, I can see the screen, Kim.
My screen, because I've got a green box on it for some reason.
Yeah, no, can see it.
Right, so this is the legislation, guys, right? So this is what we're fighting against, right? So the teachers can tell you what they want about it. You've seen that the evidence we have provided that we're going to use a global rollout. And this is, I think this is very important now, because we discussed in the consultation, everybody seems to think that the schools will get a say on it. They all seem to think as well that they're going to be consulted on it. Well, that's not quite the case, guys. I'm really sorry to tell you all. So this covers, like I said, this covers the entire curriculum. So this will go into special needs kids, all different lessons. And this is basically what the schools have to adhere to, right? So this is the legislation in place for all the schools and all the teachers to, well, they've got to stick to this, right, guys? So here we are, where we buy. So here we are, guys. Just want to show you, just to remind you again, the mandatory elements, right? The 4 mandatory elements for this curriculum are English, relationship and sexuality education, which we know is comprehensive sex education. Okay, that's what they signed up for in March 2017. Religion, values and ethics, and Welsh. Now, I don't have to tell you how poor we are performing in maths and science and everything else, right? But they seem to think those are the 4 mandatory elements that your children need to prepare them for adult life, okay?
Kim, are you able to zoom out just a little bit?
Zoom out.
Yeah. Just a little bit on your...
That's too technical for me, Del.
Oh, okay. It's quite big on the screen, so we can't see all of the page. But it's all right. You see the main gist of it, so it's not.
The main gist of it. No, sorry, guys. I'm not technical.
Yeah, no. See the main gist of it. It's fine.
Right. So I've shown you the 4 mandatory subjects, guys. So here we are. We're on the RSE code, right? So as it tells you, but there, the RSE curriculum will be set out in themes in the RSE code, right? This is it here. And as you know, the RSE code is UNESCO, okay? So it says further provision about this RSE code is on section 77, but I don't want to go to section 77 yet. I want to go to section 29. Because throughout this, it discusses all different parts, guys, and this is the whole document is important, right? And to properly understand this document as well, it will refer back to the 2002 Act and the 1996 Act. So it's not as easy to read. So whereas you read in the sex education frameworks and what you read from beginning to end is it, this document doesn't work in the same way. 29 I'm looking for now. Right, so just to remind you guys, further implementation requirements for pupils age 3 to 14, okay? This explicitly tells you in respect of the mandatory element of relationship and sexuality education. And it does say must be suitable for the pupil's stage and development. But the thing is, we know there's no assessment tool for that. So there we are, guys, that is it. It tells you there it's age 3 to 14. Right, this is the piece of legislation. The schools cannot argue with this. They have got to adhere to it, right? And they will be inspected by UNESCO. Just want to go down now to section 65 because I think this is really important. This really upset me, guys. When I just reread it again, it's really upset me again. Like, I apologize at the beginning of this show, how I wasn't forthcoming with this consultation because basically I don't want to engage with something that's a load of nonsense, but I know how important it is to you. But a big part of why I know it's nonsense is because of this. Let me come up a little bit because I can't see something in the middle of my screen. Right, so duty to cooperate, guys. It is their duty to cooperate, okay? Section 65, duty to cooperate. And the people under this section are the head teachers of maintained schools, the governing bodies, the providers, the teacher, the management committee, and the local authority in Wales. You were not mentioned in there. No parents are mentioned in there. It's their duty to conform. If you become a problem, a local authority in Wales is what they're going to turn to, right? Because in their eyes, you've breached your child's rights to education, and soon it'll be your child's sexual rights. So just want to scoot down now to section 71, guys. This is the legislation, right? You can't argue with this legislation. It's just insane, right? So this is a bit, let me read this bit there now, where's it about? Right, so it does say, right, it's the teacher's job to design the curriculum, but it also tells you here that it's the minister's role to publish it, right? So whatever they publish in the code, the teachers have to form a curriculum from that, basically. But basically, the teachers have to do as they're told. They will tell you that it's in the teacher's hands. It's not in the teacher's hands, right? So let me find, right, so let me go, right? So they have a duty to have regard to the guidance. The Welsh ministers may issue guidance in relation to exercise the functions conferred by or under this act. This is the really nasty bit. Before issuing guidance under the section, the Welsh ministers must consult the persons they think appropriate, if any. Let me just remind you again. If any, right? So we've had these consultation processes now, which they've kind of hid from you anyway. They never have to consult you again, right? They never have to consult you again. And I think they repeat that again in section 77. So this white bottle, like the RSE code procedures, here we go. Before issuing the revising of the RSE code, the Welsh ministers must consult the persons they think appropriate, if any. If any. You were not mentioned anywhere in this legislation, right? You're not mentioned anywhere in this legislation of having a say in anything with a child's education. Adele's mentioned to you, it's not a lesson, it's spread all across the curriculum. This is serious, right? This is serious. I don't understand how guys, please stop listening to the schools, right? The schools have not wrote any of those global documents we've shown you, right? The schools haven't taken part in these studies. A few of them took part in the RSE draft studies, and I can tell you all about those studies. I think there's 14 altogether. They were a whitewash, right? They were a total whitewash. And here we have it, guys. It's repeated throughout. They don't have to consult you if they don't want to. So can you see why I'm not so excited with this consultation? Because I know that consultation is a whitewash. You're being led up the garden path. Your entire children's future is written in black and white across numerous documents. It's in 52 countries. It's in this legislation. This is radical. This is from age 3, right? If this education was to prevent teenage pregnancies and it was to safeguard and everything else, guys, why are they starting with the kids from age 3? You know, it's not going to the comp kids until, oh, I don't know, 2025 eventually, Delia. But this is starting from age 3. The legislation's there. It tells you the people that have to adhere to that legislation, which are the teachers, the schools, the governing bodies, the local authority. It's their job to ensure your child takes part in that. You are the problem. Do not be a problem for them, because there's a big team waiting for you out there. That document also tells you they never have to consult you ever again if they don't think it's a good idea. They already think we're spreading misinformation. Do you know what I mean? So they probably don't want to consult you again in case we spread more misinformation. They don't need any excuse. A little excuse. They don't have to consult you in absolutely anything. They've done these consultations. They wasn't banking on Wales finding out we were part of a global rollout. We found out last January, guys. We got a chance to intervene this now. Intercept this, sorry. We've got that legislation is a demon, right? It's there in black and white. The last time they changed a piece of legislation for education was 20 years ago. I think it was I don't know what that was called, the Curriculum Act or something like that, or the Education Act 2002, 20 years ago. You want this legislation in place for another 20 years, knowing what they signed up to March 2017, sex education from birth. Guys, the evidence is heavily weighted against them. We will put together a little write-up for you for the consultation, but please, if I are just one witness for none of you to fall for it. But I do want you all to take part in it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We need to flood them with responses from the consultation. Again, apologies that apologies if we're coming out with it a bit late. If you feel you missed any, if you have already submitted and you feel that you didn't cover some of the points that we did, just, I don't know if you can just do another one covering the points that you feel that you left out on a previous
I think you can submit, I think it's up to 3 consultations per email address. So it's like for people in the household that haven't got an email address as well. And don't forget, guys, your kids can take part in this as well, mind. Your kids can take part in this consultation. So it's not just you guys, it's the kids can take part as well. Anybody can.
I'm just having a look a second to see. I'm just seeing if I've got the parental guidance that come from Wales, because that's a good thing to look at for in terms of addressing the school, because they are supposed to, when writing these policies now, they're supposed to be involving you and discussing that your input supposedly is valid. So make sure you're on at your schools now, because this is going to be, this is all going to be getting written now over these 6 weeks holidays, so that when the kids go back in school in September, you know, you're going to start seeing this rolled out. You're going to start, more of you are going to start getting notifications that RSE is going to be starting. But and say you don't want any RSE taught to your, well, you don't want it full stop, but you certainly don't want it until you've been able to see this RSE code.
You don't want it full stop because they signed up to CSE. You don't want it full stop. If your child has been taught anything that you feel is untoward, I know somebody's contacted us with a child with ASD who was taught something at the age of 9. And that made me very angry because of the statistics behind children with ASD who actually offend against
Mm.
other children. They're also a target of being attacked and assaulted, and none of that was taken into consideration. Now, personally, I'd be straight up the police station. So there are
Yeah.
lots of definitions people don't know about. There's also things called non-contact sex abuse. So don't be afraid to contact us. Get angry, get very angry, because there are cases to answer and we can report some things to the police.
Yeah, and I just advised a parent the same of this today, who is going to, they're in England, but they're going to see their school governors tomorrow. It was the same when we had the video sent to us of the 10 and 11-year-olds placing a condom on a replica penis. I personally, it was a dildo in my eyes. Yeah. And then, as Kim said, there was a parent the other day, she thought her child was having a puberty lesson, but puberty included all reproduction and the makings of a baby, so therefore covered sex. And she was horrified to learn her 10-year-old daughter was going to be learning about erections and wet dreams the following week. And she isn't able, it doesn't fall under sex, it's under science. So she doesn't have the right to withdraw her child. This is completely foreign to her child, and I have said personally, I said especially now, if you have made your voice clear, your daughter has made her voice clear that she does not want to learn this. If she now next week is exposed to penises, erections and wet dreams, I would go to the police and report a non-contact sexual assault on my child.
100%. And if you're looking for the definition of that, you'll find it in the IICSA. You'll also find in the crime survey and lots of other places.
ASD is Inquisitor. ASD is autistic spectrum disorder, and it's important to just talk about ASD here for a second, because these children are extremely vulnerable to influence, to acting out behaviors that they see, especially and you've got to remember, so we have children with ASD who are in mainstream schools. Their struggles may not be so visible to others. In fact, they're quite often labeled naughty and disruptive. But then you've got, to the other end of the scale, children with autism who are non-verbal, incontinent, have extreme challenging behavior. And sometimes these children as well who go through puberty are unable to express some of these feelings and emotions, and these exposing them to certain content can make them a risk to themselves and to other children. And also, which I know, and I hope Nicola doesn't mind me saying, because I know she's extremely keen covering this area. Kim has brought it up a few times, and we will be going into it further at some points down in the weeks, which is the high level of autistic children who are transitioning. It's extremely high numbers of ASD children who are transitioning. This
girls as well. Girls as well who are diagnosed later in life.
Yeah, and again, a funny thing with this curriculum, a lot, or with the LGBT, in the education, it seems to talk and cover, and people are covering the male to female aspect, when actually females are transitioning to males at a much higher rate. And this is another area where the whole non-binary category can conflict with what you're then teaching children about gender, and having children question, am I non-binary, or am I actually a different gender because I don't fit in? I don't like everything pink and glittery and all the girl stuff, or either. I know there's a lot of organisations out there pushing for how concerning this is for young girls who may be lesbian, bisexual, and a tomboy. So this is just really concerning to, in so many areas. And with the opt-out, again, we want to clarify this. We are not looking for parental opt-out. We don't care about parental opt-out. We want this removed from our curriculum. We do not want RSE. We do not want comprehensive sexuality education. We want it removed. Parental opt-out does not help the vulnerablest of children who are the most vulnerable to exploitation because of this education, because of this curriculum.
Can I just say as well, this curriculum, right, they'd expect it to cost anywhere between 300 and 600 million pounds, right? That's a lot of money for a country with a lot of kids that can barely read, can barely write, their maths is poor. That money, we've got 18 months of kids not getting their grades, 18 months of kids not being in school. These kids need the investment. We've had child suicides because of lockdown. These kids need that investment. We need to stop this curriculum. We can do better. That money needs to be better spent elsewhere, guys. 300 to 600 million pounds. They can't even put an exact cost on it. Look at the difference between the 300 and the 600 million. That's a massive amount of money. We're never going to see that kind of money in our lifetime put together.
Yeah.
Right? Is this education worth that price? Are our kids, in a sense, worth that price? There's so many problems with this. I can't see any good coming from it. Don't forget, this is CSE. This is not RSE.
Yeah, absolutely. You just need to really educate yourself on this now, because you are the ones who need to educate your teachers and your head teachers. And you can only do that when you're confident. Because if you are not confident on this, on the information, when they give you the reassurances that they've been told to give you, you're going to come away going, it's okay, my school's reassured me, they're not going to teach it, or my school don't agree with it. We need the schools who are not against it to join us. This is got to be a united effort. Teachers, please don't be afraid to stand out against this. Head teachers, lead your teachers.
Yeah.
Show your pupils what real courage, what standing looks like.
You do better.
Absolutely, we can.
Better. Right then, should we call it a night, lovely?
We should indeed. And guys, so I am having a few days off now. So I'm going on Hollybobs. I'm deleting my social media apps for the next 5 days. And I'm going to have some family quality time. And then I'm going to Kim's on Friday. And from Friday, myself and Kim are going to be working hard and really looking forward to the next stages, the next chapters that are coming up for PCP.
Yes, we're going to be co-writing our safer recruitment, no, our safeguarding lead level 3 for our organisation, aren't we?
Yes, so can't wait. So thank you so much for watching us, guys. For those who haven't seen us before and you've come across this, please share, please do your research. We've got a website, www.publicchildprotectionwales.org. Email us. And can I just mention, I'm going to mention about our social media. It's going to be changing quickly. We're going to be closing the local authority groups unless those who are admin in the local authority groups would like to rename them as something else. These groups were started to be an action group. From what we can see, there's very little action going on in these groups regarding RSE, and they have become a group for sharing information on COVID, opinion-based I don't want to say opinion based either, but it's sharing
Off top.
narratives that not everybody agrees with, and then we are losing people who have come to the group for RSE. They are leaving because of other content that's being posted. Our education group on Facebook is, I don't want to say it's too big, but it's too big of not people who are there for RSE either. We have a lot of people who just want to argue with us, and every minute we spend arguing is taking us away from something productive that we could be doing. At the beginning, you can tell the people who are just ill-informed to those now who are just there to troll. They just want to argue with us. I'd like to hand that group over to the parents and make it into a parent information on RSE, where it's a discussion group between parents. So Lisa, I think you're watching, so I was gonna actually ask like Lisa and Gwyn,
Gwen's watching.
a few others, whether they would take over as admins for that group. Close your local authority groups down, become admin for that, and have it as a parental discussion group. It gives a lot more leeway on the things that can be talked about and the things you are covering. It doesn't matter so much if misinformation is, it obviously matters that misinformation is shared. Hopefully somebody will correct it. However, with that misinformation is shared under our name, it appears that we are sharing the misinformation. So we're still going to be in the group. You can still tag us if you do need help on something, but ideally we need to come away from some of these social media platforms. We're on Twitter. I need followers. We need followers on Twitter. So find us on there, PCP Wales. I'm starting to use that a lot more now. So please join us on Twitter, join us on Telegram, and join us on our website where you can download our app as well. And that's what we're going to be using mostly now, is the app.
Download the app, guys. Let's try and get people onto our app, and you know, that's like a new Facebook feed as well, and that's what we want now. We've invested heavily into the website, not just time but money as well. So if we get everyone over there, you know, people, we're not going to get caught up with other campaigns and things like that. You know what I mean? We can keep ourselves clean, you know, people can tell the difference, kind of thing. And so
yeah,
we've got to do this, guys. At the end of the day, this is not just a campaign. We've set up the organisation, we're rewriting policies, we're writing training packages, and we can't be arguing, we can't, you know, criticism was one thing for the first couple of months, but we can't have people criticise the things they don't do now, can we?
Yeah.
You know, it's simple, guys. There's 22 local authorities in Wales. We only needed 22 really good people, you know. We tried to get those groups going, they've gone the wrong way. So if you are in these local authority groups and you do want to be the person for your local authority, get in touch with us direct and we'll find a way forward like that.
Yeah, I'm going to try and create a little platform, whether it be on our app, it'll probably be on our app, which will be an action talking group, purely for what have you done, what do you want to do, how are we going to do it in terms of your local authorities and your schools, and with the court, you know, obviously we want to take this to court. We're looking for families who will join us in doing that, primary school children, teenage children, and just in terms of the education, I would say our way groups. So again, I'd like to hand it over to the parents. So inbox me if you would be interested in being an admin or a moderator for that group. You can also message Gwyn or Lisa, and if I know they'll be admins because they're wonderful. So yeah, that's kind of all our news.
Yeah. What Brilliant. I'll do, guys, I'll get Jason to send me this video once it's downloaded. I'll not promising it'll be up straight away. I'll try and get up in the next couple of days. I'll edit it to make it a bit shorter with the really important points in. I'll try to. And yeah, we'll try to get something a little bit shorter for you. But yeah, we'll get something written up. Bear with us. The 12th of July is deadline, Delia, day after our protest.
Yes, yes. So the 11th and moderator from Voice of Wales. Yes, you've promoted us, guys. Voice of Wales, shout out to them. We so much of our publicity and our support and our supporters has come from them and their support of us. So it's disheartening to see that when they get a bit of stick online, and also then people dismiss our campaign straight away along with them when they're just great guys fighting for the protection of our children as well.
Yeah, somebody said Stan stands like a cop. Well, Stan's actually military. He's
Yeah,
military.
yeah.
That's why you know that's the posture.
Guys, you are a big part of the problem if you won't stand against child abuse because you don't like the person who is telling you that it's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
We can't live in that society. You can't live in a society where you'll let a child near a paedophile because the person who told you they're a paedophile you've got a problem with.
Totally agree, Del. Totally agree.
So, good night, folks, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.